So the other day I did a bit of an experiment. I went out on a photo shoot, but I left my camera at home and only took my drone. Now there is a valid reason for this, and if you saw a video I posted just a couple of weeks back, you'll totally get where I'm coming from. I'd driven to South Wales to photograph the Victorian lighthouse at Whitford in the 𝐂𝐻𝐵 Peninsula. Such an incredible structure in the most amazing setting. But to be honest, it was a complete disaster. I got soaked from the rain that wasn't forecast, my tripod fell onto the rocks, and along with it my camera, lens and filter. Amazingly they weren't damaged, but I ended up with nothing more than just a handful of test shots. Not one to be beaten though, I just had to head back, but this time do things different, because getting out to the lighthouse is quite a trek and you have to wait until low tide so that you can walk out quite some distance across the rocks. The trouble with that is you end up having to photograph the lighthouse when the tide's out on a flat, rocky seabed, and that's not really what I wanted. So the solution, my thinking, was to use my drone instead. That way I can photograph it with the tide way in and the waves crashing against the lighthouse, and I keep safe on the sand dunes and don't end up being that person, if you know what I mean. So I headed back a couple of days ago, and this time my mate Anthony Crothers joined me. I'd researched everything, the weather, the cloud cover, the tide times, the flight zones, and it actually turned out just right. In fact, even better than I'd expected. Once close enough, when the tide came in, I got my drone out and flew out across the sea to the lighthouse. And with roughly 30 minutes-ish of battery life, I took my time to find a composition that I liked and dialed in the settings manually. The sun was going down over to the left of where we were positioned, giving beautiful light on the lighthouse, and the colour in the sky with the clouds was just perfect. I took a few single exposures and also set the drone into HDR to take 5 shots in quick succession at varying shutter speeds to give different exposures so that I could then blend them together afterwards in Lightroom. I had a few spare batteries too, so once I'd taken the still images I wanted, I also did a couple of quick shots and tried my first hyperlapse, but I think I need to practice just a little bit more with that. But what about the still images? Is the quality any good? Is this going to be something that I want to do more of? Let's take a look in Lightroom. So here you can see a number of images actually taken on the day, and if I click on this particular one here, we'll go to the develop module and then zoom in. You can see straight away that the quality is definitely there. Sharp, contrast, detail, texture. I mean, it's not my Sony a7R IV, but the quality is very, very acceptable. But when it comes to actually doing the retouching, obviously amongst all these images here, there were individual images and there were images that were taken in a sequence of 5 quick bursts. The way I can separate them all up is just by coming to the photo menu, choosing stacking and then auto stack by capture time. When I do that, Lightroom will then put each of those bursts of images all together nicely organized, as well as show me which were the single images. Now, if I just click on this last little batch over here of 5 images, you can see when I enlarge them and I go through, you can see that each of them are slightly different exposure. So I can now blend all these together to create a high dynamic range image. I'll click on the very first one, I'll hold my shift key down and click on the very last one so they're all now highlighted, and I'll just go to the photo menu, photo merge and HDR. This is incredibly simple. Over on the right hand side here we've got auto align layers. That checkbox is definitely ticked. And I'm also going to have it set to auto settings, which is kind of like the auto that you would have in the main Lightroom dialog anyway. And we'll do a create a stack. And I'll just click on merge. Very quickly, Lightroom will then blend all those together and give me an additional image, which is a blended version of all those 5. And you can see that's the one we've now got just here. So let's just open this up in the develop module. There we can see I won't bother doing the crop on this just yet, but what I will do is just go through a very, very quick kind of retouch some of the things that I actually did in the final image. Now that we have this new selecting and masking in Lightroom, this is made so much easier. Let's just enhance the sky first of all. I'll come over to the masking section here, click on it to open it all up, and we'll choose select sky. Now when we choose select sky, you can see that it does find the sky, but it's also included some parts of the actual lighthouse itself. So we'll click on subtract and we'll choose subject. Now the subject is the lighthouse, so when I click on that it should remove it from the sky selection, but it's also got rid of some of the actual sky in between the structure, which we don't want to lose that. We need to bring it back. So I'm going to add to this mask. So I click on add, and we could just choose this one here, color range. I'll then bring my cursor over into the area where the actual sky should be selected, click on the blue sky in between the structure of the lighthouse, click, and you can see now that it's actually included it just there as well. So now I can come over to the temperature slider. Let's just add a little bit of blue in there. Maybe add some clarity into the sky as well. And maybe just a little bit of dehaze. So you can really get some nice structure in there like that. Now the next thing I think I'll do is just make a selection of the lighthouse itself. So we'll come up to here saying create new mask. And we'll do select subject. Now when we do that, you can see that it's selected the actual lighthouse really good, but again, it's actually included now parts of the sky which we don't want, so we need to get rid of that. I'll click on subtract, we'll go back to this color range, bring my cursor in and tell it now not to include the sky in between the structure of the lighthouse, so we can click down just there. Now I think it actually looks as if there's a little bit of the sky still selected in there. Now we can actually add to this color range just by holding down the shift key. You can see we get a little plus icon. Bring the cursor over to where we can just still see that red overlay on the blue sky in between the structure. Click down and that also removes it. Superb. Right, so let's just add a little bit of clarity onto the lighthouse, maybe a little bit of texture. So we'll go for something like that. And I'm also going to increase the saturation on the colors of the lighthouse just there. And the next thing I think I'll do is just make a selection of the sea itself. So we'll go create new mask. I'll use a linear gradient, click down on the sea and drag upwards so we get the red overlay on the sea. It's actually, obviously, now that I've taken it to the top, it's on the sky, so we'll get rid of it on the sky. So we click subtract, select sky. That removes the selection of the sky. We need to remove it off the bottom of the lighthouse, so we'll go subtract and subject. That'll take it off the lighthouse like so. Superb the way this works. And then we'll just bring down that temperature slider to bring a bit of blue back into the sea. Something like that. Let's just now come over to the presets. I'm finding that I do use these presets now over on the left-hand side quite a lot as a part of the retouch. The one I'm going to use is in the vintage section and VN07. I do like that if I bring that before and after, really enhancing the colours that were actually there during the day. So we'll leave it on VN07. I might just increase the warmth on the temperature side just a little bit. And then we'll send this over now over into Photoshop. So we'll go Photo, Edit in, Open as a Smart Object in Photoshop. Double click on the hand tool so we can see it. And all I think I'm going to do in here is just a little bit more of the color grading. Now I could have actually used the lookup tables, the LUTs in Lightroom. Did that in a previous video, but I'm going to use them in Photoshop. So we'll come over to the adjustments in the top right hand corner. Click on the lookup table adjustments, and the one I'm going to use here, let's just go for full colors. That's quite a nice one. Take that layer there down to maybe around about 20%, and maybe add another one. Let's have a quick look here. Do we want to choose another one? Maybe edgy amber. Where's that edgy amber? There it is. And we'll reduce that one down, something like that. That's looking good. Let's add a little bit of a glow now. This is something that I do in a lot of the actual images that I have for landscape and seascape. So we'll create a merge layer at the top of the layer stack. On Mac, I'll hold down the Shift, Option, Command and E. And on Windows, that's Shift, Alt, Control and E. That's now a merged layer. We'll then go to the Filter menu, Gaussian Blur. And the amount of blur I'm going to dial in here is roughly what the pixel size is of the actual sensor. It's roughly 40-ish, 40, 48. I'll leave it at 40. We'll click OK, then change the blend mode from normal to soft light and take that down to around about 20%. So you can see that's before and after. Let's have a quick look on all these here. Let's have a look at that's before and after. Happy with that. Right, let's just save it. We'll go File and Save. That'll save the image. That'll go back over into Lightroom where we can do just the final couple of things. Let's just crop it. We'll go to a 16:9, something like that will work really good. Let's just drag that into maybe around about there. Keep that in the center, something like that. And maybe add just a little bit of grain. I do like adding a little bit of grain in there. Let's go for maybe around about 15, something like that. And the last thing I think I'll do is just add a slight vignette. So go to the masking, we'll choose a radial gradient, we'll click in the center and drag out, and then we will invert it and just bring down the exposure. But here is my final retouched image. So is this something I'm going to be doing more of? 100% absolutely yes. You're away from people, and if you do your checks, you're sensible and don't fly in areas you're not allowed to, then this is just a superb way to take great photographs and get compositions that there is just no way you could do without it, or there's no way of doing so safely and not putting yourself and others at risk. Now, I'm currently using the DJI Air 2, but after this, I am seriously now looking at the Air 2S. But I don't know, is the quality that much better with its 1-inch sensor? What I do know, though, is that I am really happy with how this is printed. This here is on titanium gloss paper, and I just could not be happier. But this is the DJI Air 2. Is the Air 2S going to make it even better? Let me know. But that's all for this week. That's all from my first ever photography only drone flight. But I'd pretty much say I'm addicted. There may well be more of this on this channel, but that's all for now. I will see you in the next video.